Hey everyone, I'm Jared, I'm 23 years old, and just a little about myself. I am a part-time, informally trained musician. I am also one of the founders and the director for a music community called Indigo Scales that accepts anyone and everyone that likes music and overcoming social divides. I am a third-year sociology major at the National University of Singapore, and I'm basically doing these videos to just share views and hopefully have a conversation with you. So yeah. Hey everyone. So just a little disclaimer here. I'm not trying to say that I have the absolute definitive way of looking at things. I'm not trying to say that I'm the most correct person out there, the most correct person that you're ever gonna meet. And the main reason for this is, for one, that would be going against the very thing that I'm trying to advocate for, which is a collective way of viewing at all these topics. And for another, I'm definitely not trying to personally attack anyone, because I'm strongly against that as well. I never try to insinuate that people are essentially a certain way. I don't try and suggest that people change things that they can't change. I'm always looking at people's actions. I'm always looking at my own actions as well. So whatever I talk about, I know I am responsible as well. I know that I am part of this bigger picture that I am proposing. So yeah, call-out culture. It's definitely a fairly new term. It's one that I've only encountered recently in a news article relating to what former US President Barack Obama was saying about it. Call-out culture refers to the way in which people tend to, as the term suggests, call out other people on social media, meaning like when they see something that they disagree with in a post, they say like, hey, no, that's wrong, you shouldn't be doing that. And within this call out culture, we sometimes do see people, repost things that they disagree with and kind of like talk about it in long paragraphs and say, I don't agree with this, this is bad, and then people start to repost it, and suddenly a lot of these so-called small incidences kind of blow up and everyone's talking about it. And he actually put it in a very negative light. He said that call-out culture can be very bad. It's very harmful because it promotes this kind of herd mentality, and it promotes a lot of aggression and just generally not very productive, because if everyone's fighting, then no one's gonna be agreeing on anything. And while I do agree with some of his sentiments, I definitely find that we shouldn't view call-out culture in such a negative way, because it has a lot of plus points. There are a lot of positive things that have come out of call-out culture, especially here in Singapore, amongst all the negatives, of course. So that's the main thing we're going to be talking about. It emphasizes the voices of the marginalized, people we don't usually consider, or people that we might have forgotten based on the kinds of values that we uphold in society. And it shows that any individual has the capacity to enact change if they do so in a constructive way, in a way that resonates with other people. And I know this makes a lot of people uncomfortable, especially because we're in a society where a lot of the things we learn about are in a very top-down approach. We have a huge respect for authority, which is fine, but I think this has caused kind of a development in unearned fear of individual agency. Like, we're scared what individuals are capable of, and I think for the most part, a huge majority of us are not out to ruin society. We're not trying to make everyone's lives miserable for the sake of it. I think a lot of these people speak from the heart. A lot of these people are putting themselves out there, being willing to be criticized and everything, because they believe in something and they want to see this change. In Singapore, I would say it blew up after all the things that came about from my home university, the National University of Singapore. I'm definitely not proud of it. All the sexual harassment cases, all the sexual violence that's been going on. And I think it's primarily for this reason that I see call out culture in a positive way, because it's already bringing, I mean, hopefully positive change to NUS. Like, I mean, at least people are willing to talk about these issues, and people are willing to kind of go the extra mile to bring about the change that people involved in this incident wanted to see. I deeply respect this person, and very grateful for the kind of courage that you put in to make this issue known, not just in NUS but in Singapore. And I think it's gonna go a long way in helping a lot of people, and I really hope that happens. So main types of call out culture that I feel are present in Singapore right now, firstly is obviously issues of gender. Secondly is issues of race, especially casual racism. And finally, issues of the environment, which is probably the most recent. I think my main point that I want to drive across today is definitely that call out culture is not inherently bad. I don't think it is inherently an unhealthy thing. Maybe it is the way that some of us have been operationalizing call out culture, the way some of us have been using it, that can bring about a lot of negative things. And today I really want to try and encourage people to approach call out culture in a way that is positive for everyone and enables really positive social change. I'd just like to acknowledge this. I am guilty of all of these things, if you know me especially. I do have a tendency to call out people in a way sometimes that is not productive. I do try my best. I don't think I have inherently offended anyone so far. Hopefully not. But yeah, this is based on mistakes that I have made, mistakes that I've seen other people make, and you know, it's totally cool. Like, we all do these things. So never aim to attack, always aim to cooperate with the people you're having a discussion with. Because for one thing, you don't want to offend the person that you're talking about, because this person is just going to become really, really defensive and say like, you know, you can't blame me, I wasn't in the wrong, and you're just going to get more and more frustrated, more and more angry, and you two are just not going to see eye to eye. And when I think about feminist epistemology, and this is something that I definitely align myself with, is the fact that we can't see things in just a pure binary. And if you are advocating for these issues, you should never ever try and see things in black and white. You should never ever think that you are the absolute right person in this argument. I have to win this argument. And I think, once again, I'm not trying to offend anyone, I'm not trying to attack anyone. I'm just trying to say that this is kind of an underlying assumption that a lot of us have about discussions in Singapore. I do feel that it has come out of the kind of education that we have, but that's a whole different story. But we should definitely try our best to avoid the binary, or avoid the binary at all costs. Always try and find a way to cooperate with each other, a way to kind of see eye to eye and kind of respect other people's perspectives. Because ultimately, at the end of a discussion, everyone wants a positive takeaway. And I don't view anyone as inherently bad. I don't think anyone is purposely trying to contribute to systemic racism or sexism or cause damage to the environment. I think a lot of us are just very habitualized, and ultimately I do think that we're all part of a bigger picture. We're all influenced by our upbringings, by the kind of environment we're in. For example, I was in an all-boys school for 10 years, and I do think that I was influenced to really think a certain way when it comes to misogynistic tendencies, when it comes to, like, you know, trying to be macho, trying to be masculine. And it took me a really long time. It took me really good friends to help me through that, to help me make sense of all these things. And if I just had someone constantly just attacking me and telling me like, you know, this is bad, this is wrong, there's something wrong with you, you know, I don't think that I would ever have taken the steps to try to be less sexist, to try to be less racist, to be more environmentally conscious. And I'm definitely the most grateful towards people who have always been positive, who have always been I guess, tolerant or even accepting of the fact that I do things that they might not agree with, and they'll talk to me about it, and we'll have a proper conversation. Sometimes I'll agree, sometimes I won't, and I guess the main intention here for me is to always try and do the right thing, which is a very fundamental thing. I know it sounds so simple. Yeah, but that's just my own perspective on the issue. The whole reason why I made this video is because I want to hear other people's voices. I want to hear what you have to say about call out culture. So yeah, feel free to comment. You can write long paragraphs if you want. You can ask questions, or if you want me to talk about anything else, just let me know. I'm doing this purely for fun, or I guess you could say, I guess passion. I am very invested in the issues that are taking place in Singapore. I don't pretend that I'm the most knowledgeable, but have this wanting to have a conversation with people. I feel a lot of us are really scared to talk about these issues, and yeah, if you want to talk about it, feel free. I will pick up wherever you guys leave it off in the comments. So, yep. Take care and hopefully see you around.